Hi, my name is Peter Wilk. I'm the EPA certified lead paint risk assessor and inspector. I'm also founder of 5-Star Environmental, the company which specializes in lead paint inspections, water for lead, asbestos, mold and chemical inspections. Today I would like to speak about the very urgent subject in New York City, which is HPD Local Law 31, the regulations about the lead paint inspections. Local Law 31 was enacted in September 9th, 2020, and it basically says that all rental residential units in buildings built before 1960 must undergo lead paint inspections. HPD gave for that 5 years, which means that this requirement expired on August 9th, 2025. Local Law 31 requires that EPA certified lead inspector goes to each apartment and goes to each room or room equivalent like a bathroom and tests all painted surfaces using the XRF, which is a handheld gauge to read the lead paints. Detailed report must be generated by the inspector. The report would show every tested paint listed in the report. It will also include the copy of the inspector license, the company license, and the notarized affidavit. Now, the biggest implication from the report is actually to compare this report to the Local Law 1 requirements. So now let me explain what the Local Law 1 is. Local Law 1 was enacted in 2004. It was also known as the Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Act. It was invented to protect young children under 6 years old. And this is the primary law which has a requirement that the landlord checks if the children under 6 reside in an apartment, and it has to be done every year in January. Basically, landlord has to ask the tenants if they have a child who resides there, and resides means lives there permanently or spends in the apartment 10 or more hours per week. This also has to be documented. There's a form in the Local Law 1 regulations which should be used for this purpose. The tenants would sign it and state if the child resides or not. Now, if the child resides in such an apartment, a landlord would have to check the paint condition in the apartment and also document it in another form, which also can be found in the Local Law 1 regulations. Another requirement which comes from Local Law 1, which is very important, it is the turnover abatement of friction surfaces, window sills, and also Local Law 1 mentions that the floors must be made smooth and cleanable. That's a little issue with it because it's hard to tell what they mean by smooth. For example, we believe that they don't like carpets. They would probably recommend that the carpets must be removed and replaced by materials which are smooth, like vinyl floor tiles or linoleums, for example. So that's not a requirement. And also Local Law 1 mentions that the documents from the lead paint activities like turnover or annual inspections must be documented and kept for 10 years. Once a landlord receives a lead paint report, they should go through the findings. Now, if they find that there is no lead paint at all in an apartment, they can apply for the lead paint exemption with HPD. This can be done either by filing the forms, or probably better option would be to file this online, which is quite quick and simple procedure. And once an apartment is granted lead paint exemption, this apartment is exempted from local law in regards of lead paint. Now, if the report shows that there are lead paints found in the apartment, there are pretty much 2 types of lead painted components. One of them are the friction surfaces and one of them are the other ones. The other ones would be, for example, walls, ceilings, baseboards, crown moldings, window cases, right, casings. These components can be covered with lead paint, and this is legal as long as the lead paints are maintained in safe or intact condition. The other category would be friction surfaces, and examples here would be a window sash and window frame, right? Or door and door frame. So locations where the friction happens. Also in this category would be window sill, which are HPD marked as the biting or chewing areas because small kids can bite on it. So the window sills would also have to be abated, and friction surfaces must be abated during the first vacancy counting from 2004 when Local Law 1 was enacted. I would like to go with you now through one page of the XRF report to show you a couple examples and how to read report. You don't see the title line, but you can see on the left side, on the left column, you can see the number of the sample. So let's go to sample number 295 and one below it 296. And once you go across the table, you're gonna see location bedroom 1, 2.8, this is the reading of the lead in the paint, and 2.6 below it is also reading, and this was read on the wall 3 and wall 4. What's the point of it? Point of it is actually that these two readings are positive. They're actually quite high because, as I mentioned previously, 0.5 microgram per centimeter square would make lead positive. So 2.8 and 2.6 are quite high, and these two locations are on the walls. So the question would be, is this like a big problem? Not really, because these are not friction surfaces, right? Walls are locations which have lead paint as long as they are maintained in safe or intact condition. Pretty much what it means, they're supposed to be painted and monitored at least annually by the landlord. To compare to these two other samples, sample number 308 and one below it 309, it says bedroom 2, also very high readings, 5.4, 5.5. 5.4 is on the door frame, and the one right below it is door jamb, which this is typical friction surface, right? Because door would actually rub against the door frame or door jamb. This is the friction surface, so typical friction surface, and this is supposed to be abated during the first vacancy of an apartment, again counting from 2004 when the Local Law 1 was enacted. Maybe let's go to one more example, samples 311, 312, door frame, door jamb again, right? And two more samples, 317, 318, you can see walls, very heavy loaded with lead, 19.0, 20.6, a lot of lead paint, but again, these are walls, they can be painted over, they can be encapsulated, can be enclosed. There's no requirement the lead paint has to be removed from them. They are not friction surfaces. Now I would like to summarize what we were talking about today. So to make it kind of simple and digestible, two most important regulations in New York City which come from HPD are Local Law 1 from 2004, which is the basic law, and Local Law 31 from 2020, which requires inspections. So this is the regulation. Also, I would have to add to this Local Law 31, the regulation which was enacted in 2023, Local Law 111, which requires paint inspection for the common areas. Why is it important? Because I would say these three regulations, they actually made for each other. The inspections are meant to make the landlords aware if they have lead paint, and also make them aware if they are in compliance with Local Law 1 from 2004. I would like to also give you some advice, which is probably not perfect, but no, if you ask me, so in case the lead paint was found on the friction surfaces during the inspection, and landlord realized that no, actually there was vacancy from 2004, what has to be done? There's no perfect solution, but no, the advice would be just go ahead and do abatement of friction surfaces, documented properly, have it done by EPA certified lead abatement contractor. You will also have to have a third-party inspector to collect dust wipe sample. This is required for the clearance of the abatement, and at least this way you show a good attempt to catch up with not being in compliance with Local Law 1. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. And please call us or write us if you have any questions about lead paint inspections. Thank you.